In this English lesson, I wanted to help you learn the English term funny business. Funny business is a kind of behavior that we don't like. Let me give you a few examples. Sometimes when I'm driving in my car, in the back of the van, I want my children to behave. I don't want any funny business. I don't want them to fight or argue or try to take things from each other. I want them to be happy. I want them to be kind. I don't want any funny business. I also could use this term when talking about students. If I step into the hallway to talk to another teacher, I might say to my class, please continue working. I don't want any funny business. That simply means I don't want them to throw things at each other. I don't want them to start fighting with each other, either just by arguing or actually fighting. That never happens, by the way. But I certainly don't want any funny business. The second term I wanted to teach you today is the term a funny feeling. When you have a funny feeling, it usually means you think you know what's going to happen in the future. Here's an example sentence. Even though it's a nice day out, I have a funny feeling it might rain today. The wind is blowing a certain way. The clouds in the sky look a little bit strange. I have a funny feeling that it might rain later this afternoon. So a funny feeling is a way to describe your ability to maybe predict the future just a little bit. Anyways, to review, funny business is any kind of behavior that you don't like to see, either with your children or if you have students, if you're a teacher, or even with maybe the government. You don't want the government to get up to any funny business. You want them to do their job well and rule the country in an appropriate way. No funny business. And a funny feeling is simply you think that you know how something is going to turn out. I had a funny feeling that Italy was going to win the soccer game, and I was actually right. I had a funny feeling. I'm not that good at predicting the future, but for some reason, I had a funny feeling that they would win. But hey, let's look at a comment from a previous video. This comment is from Rajendra, and Rajendra says, "Hi Bob, how are you? Another nice and short lesson from you. Again, I'm mesmerized by the beautiful view behind you. Please bear with me. What is that small hut kind of thing behind you?" And my response was this: that is actually a wagon that we can close up. We use it a lot in early spring to allow small plants in trays to harden off. This means to get used to colder temperatures. But we don't want them to freeze at night, so we close the wagon. So at a certain point in the year, it's nice and warm during the day here in Ontario, Canada, but it's still quite cold at night. So we have one wagon where we bring small seedlings out to kind of get used to being outdoors. We do start growing them in the house. And this wagon is open. So you can see we use it quite a bit at this time of the year. But we have this wagon over here, which is what I think you were referring to, Rajendra. I think you were referring to this wagon. Let me go to the other side. This wagon has doors on the side. So in the early spring, we can actually take these doors and they fold up, and we can close this wagon off at night. What that lets us do is we can bring small seedlings out very early in the spring, and then if we think the temperature is going to go below 0 at night, we can close the doors on the wagon and we can keep them safe. Anyways, Bob the Canadian here. I hope you enjoyed this little lesson and a little view of some seedlings. Bye. Sometimes when I'm done making the videos, I have to run and pick up my papers. There's one way over here on the ground. Let me just run and grab that. I don't want to litter. Bye.